We're in chapter 5, and now we're in the postnatal development. Now the baby is born. The human's baby is not designed to be born and thrown into forest and survive. It's almost guaranteed they're gonna die. So the babies have a lot of development after the baby is born, including the body and the brain. And the newborn baby has very little stuff. Most of them are reflex, and some of them are so that's so direct you won't think it's a reflex, like the breathing reflex. When their body are short of oxygen, they're so natural. They will breathe. They will contract their diaphragm and make the air flow in. And like you touch their cheeks, they will turn their head to you. That's the reflex. They're searching for food. And they also have the Babinski reflex. Babinski reflex is you touch their feet and you found their feet were bent. Will try to grab your finger, and the same for the finger. That's the scientists believe all the primates have this, because the primates, after they were born, they need to hang on the tree or hang on the mother. If they fall off the tree, it's highly chance they're gonna die, right? Because a lot of animals want to eat them. So humans still have this kind of reflex. And that's pretty much it. They have reflex, not too much motor control. And that part, the fine motor control, and also depends on the postnatal development. And let's look at the visual system. Newborn baby's vision. We believe the baby can see. We don't know much about this. The reason is the subject. After you have a baby, you are so tired, you are sleep deprived. The baby gonna wake up every 3 hours, and you feed the baby, and you clean, and you go to sleep for 2 hours. Then you wake up again. That's your life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and plus you have a job to do. And the last thing the parents think about is, oh, let's bring the baby to the lab and contribute something to the science. So most of the subject come from the instructor and come from the graduate students or the lab members, and the study they have limited subject, so we don't know 100% of what's going on. But so far we believe the baby can see. The 2 days old baby, they prefer human's face than the other objects. So we believe they have good vision. Maybe not perfect, but they can see the human's face. And also when they start to crawl, okay, that's the experiment. They cover this part with the transparent cover. And when the baby come to here, the parents will say, come, and the baby will stop here. They think they're gonna fall. So they have the good depth perception. And in chapter 4, when we talk about the vision, we know the depth perception is your brain created. So that indicates the baby's brain quickly develop in the first few months to the first few years. This experiment show the baby prefer the human's face. They just make the baby look at different objects. We have the human's face and circle and different board, color board, and they found the baby spend most of time fixate at face or anything look like a face. And also the baby can hear. And the measure how vigorously the baby suck the milk. They provide music, provide the sounds, and they found, the sucking rate increase compared with no sound. So this indicates they have good auditory function. And also the newborn baby prefer their mother's voice compared with other females' voice. So they can recognize. This indicate they hear the mother's voice before they were born. And also they have certain level of memory, even though you don't remember it. So the baby can remember. And this another experiment showed the infants, they can remember because you put them on this kind of toy, and they will struggle. They want you to hold them, and they will start to struggle and kick. Accidentally, they kick this and make music. Now they are pretty happy. You found after 30 minutes, they're gonna kick this toy like crazy, and they can kick this off. They're very powerful. And this indicate, okay, they have a good motor function. They also have memory because they remember this and they remember this. Right? When we talk about development, we have to talk about Piaget. Or he's too important to skip. So this part overlap with what you learned in memory. I respect Piaget a lot because he is the psychologist. He does not use fancy tool. He does not have functional MRI, those expensive toys to play. All he did is observation. He just sit there and watch the baby development, and everybody can do that. And he created a great theory of the children development. After a whole century, people still use it, and that's what make him a great psychologist. And Piaget, he's pretty smart, of course. At age 15, he published his first paper in the peer-reviewed journal. And he found his theory when he worked in the test center. So you work there for a few hours every day. And if you work for those kind of part-time job, you just do your job, right? You go home. But he's a great scientist, so he always pay attention to the detail. And what he found is he will give questionnaires to the students at different age, from grade 1 to grade 6. And what he found is students at the same age tend to make the same mistake. That's what he found. It's like they will jump from a stage to a different stage, and they won't make the same mistake again. But when they go to the stage 2, they will make the new mistake. And when they go to the stage 3, all the children in stage 3 will be good at something else, but gonna make the new mistake. And so he put development, children's development, they call the cognitive maturity, into different stage. And the most famous part is probably this experiment. So he found he used observational study. He just sit there and watch these children's behavior and watch them. Like we can talk about this experiment. All the children are self-centered. Like this experiment, you ask the children, okay, well, what do you see on the right? You will say the right is the house. What do you see on the left? And she will tell you, okay, there's a mountain on the top. There's a cross there, right? And if you ask her, okay, what's your best friend, Kelly? She sit here. What's on her right? And we know, okay, on Kelly's right would be on this part, it will be the cross. But every children at this age, they are self-centered. They believe what they see, everybody see it in this way. So she will say, okay, Kelly see on the right is the house because I see the house. So that's the pretty famous experiment of Piaget. He found our cognitive maturity will jump from stage to stage. And he used the word as schema. Schema is a mental process, how you interact with the environment. And based on their experience, they gradually change the schema. The example I use is, okay, for me, I am an international student, come to UT 20 years ago. And first, I need to learn how to find food. So I go to the McDonald's and I create my schema. So I found, okay, I can raise my head and there's 8 different numbers of menus I can order. And I don't need to speak too much English. I just say, okay, I want number 8, please. And then it will give me my food and also give me a cup. And I found, oh, I can refill my drink. That's my schema. And I found I can apply the schema to the other fast food restaurants. So now I go to the Burger King. Okay, I can use similar schema and order my food and get my food, fill my stomach. And that's a simulation. So the children are going to have a schema for something, and they can use the schema for the new environment. And then during the weekend, okay, my friend tell me, go to the Texas, you need to eat barbecue. So I went to the sold and a barbecue restaurant. And suddenly I found, okay, my schema in the McDonald's won't work in the barbecue restaurant. Apparently the schema changed too much. So I need to do the accommodation. And that's how the children change. They will use assimilation and accommodation and keep changing their schema so they can fit into the new experience. And Piaget, okay, you learned this part in the intro psych, right? He developed the development into 4 different stages: the sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operation, and formal operation. And let's look at the first one. The first one, sensory motor. So that's age from 0 to 1. At this age, the children, well, they cannot do too much. They are pretty direct. They respond to what they see, what they hear, and if they're out of sight, out of mind. So that's the best way to describe this age. You take the toy away, well, suddenly it disappears. Out of sight, out of mind. And that's the experiment. You have a toy and they like toy, and once you block this toy, suddenly it disappears. And that's the lack of object permanence. And after, when they finish this stage, the sensory motor, and the most important thing is they know object permanency. So it develops about 8 to 9 months. Every baby is a little bit different, but all babies go through this stage. And first you block this toy, they know they lose attention. They're not interested in the toy anymore until they grow old enough. When you block this toy, they know they can find this toy. The toy is still there. So that means they go to the second stage. And also in the sensory motor stage, about age 1, they show the self-recognition. They look at the mirror, they found, oh, that's them. And they show the certain kind of emotion, happiness, and embarrassment. Okay, now they go to the second stage. The second stage is pre-operational. And at this stage, very famous experiments of Piaget is this one. They are egocentric. It's not because they are so selfish. It's because their brains operate in this way. They think, if I see the world this way, everybody see the world in this way. I explained this experiment. So if you ask this little girl in this stage, what's on your right? And she will say, okay, there's a house. And if you ask her, what's on little Kelly's right? And she will tell you, it's a house. Because she see the world this way, and everybody should see the world this way. And that's the egocentric thinking. That's the pretty standardized task you find in the pre-operational stage. And another one is, at this stage, they don't have the concept of conservation. You can give them 2 glasses of water, they're same size, and you ask them, okay, which one has more? And they will tell you, okay, they are the same. Now you can do it in front of them. You take a container, a taller container, and you can do it in front of them. You pour the water in, and now this one is taller, and you ask her, okay, which one has more? And all the kids at this age will tell you, this one has more. So they don't have the concept of conservation. And that's the very cute age. And we have a lot of videos. You can click and watch them. All the children at this age, they are short of conservation. So you can do the trick to them, and they will tell you, okay, the one is taller has more. It's pretty interesting video. Okay, let's take a short break.